Barack Obama is betting no. Yes, the Biden family tell the New York Post that Obama is very upset because he knows she can't win.
12 seconds later.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
He called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Michigan registered voters put her and the former president at 49% each. That's 3 percentage points better than President Biden was performing. In Minnesota, the presumptive Democratic nominee is up and has a 6-point advantage there. They are both tied at 49 in Pennsylvania. And former President Trump has a 1-point lead in Wisconsin. Those results are comparable with the Trump versus Biden numbers. Many of the new polls coming out nationally and in the swing states have been within the margin of error in this new race.
You know, the funniest thing about Barack and Michelle Obama formally endorsing Kamala Harris for president is that after this, Trump literally has no excuse not to debate her. I mean, he never did, right? This is a man who said anytime, any place.
I'll tell you, I'm ready to debate Donald Trump. I have agreed to the previously agreed upon September 10th debate. He agreed to that previously. Now it appears he's backpedaling.
But according to Trump's communications director, Stephen Chung, he referenced former President Barack Obama, claiming there is a, quote, strong sense in the Democratic Party that Harris cannot beat President Trump and they are still holding out for someone better. Also, they could avoid agreeing to the debate. So what now?
This is the statement here. It is nominally from Stephen Chung, but it's written by Donald Trump. Because it says, there is a strong sense by many in the Democrat Party, namely Barack Hussein Obama, that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat Donald Trump.
I would like him to say that to her face, right? But he won't because he's a little punk. Right? And that's what you have to always remember about Donald Trump. He's a scared little punk.
Damn!
Well, it's been a whirlwind week in the world of US politics as Vice President Kamala Harris formally kicked off her presidential campaign, while Trump VP pick J.D. Vance formally cemented himself as simultaneously the cringiest and creepiest person on your timeline.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe. Well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys.
Okay.
The man who had the nerve to get off the sofa, or did the sofa get off him, and offend millions of women across America who, either by their own choice or inability to conceive, don't have children, only to be dealt with a harsh case of sit the F down by Pete Buttigieg.
It's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
Now, I should note you have 2 children. They were born before he gave that answer. Harris is also a stepmom to children as well. But what's your response to that?
I mean, you know, the really sad thing is he said that after Chasten and I had been through a fairly heartbreaking setback in our adoption journey. He couldn't have known that, but maybe that's why you shouldn't be talking about other people's children. And it's not about his kids, or my kids, or the vice president's family. It's about your family, people's families whose well-being will depend on whether we go into a future led by somebody like Kamala Harris, who is focused on expanding the prosperity, the freedom, the well-being of our families. And by the way, especially if you have kids and you're worried about climate, choosing between a party that has a plan on climate that creates jobs and a party that still calls it a hoax, even as we went through the hottest day in world history. Or do you want your children to grow up in a country defined by a return to the chaos and recrimination and cruelty that was the hallmark of the Trump era?
And if this wasn't bad enough for Team Trump, after formally announcing that they wouldn't agree to a debate with VP Harris, echoing some real unhinged Fox News conspiracies that the Obamas were going to roll out someone else at the 11th hour, the former president and First Lady formally endorsed Kamala Harris, therefore eviscerating the last line of defense for the man who just 5 months ago claimed proudly, anytime, any place.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi, you're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
Now, as I said in a previous video, and to anyone who could stomach listening to me, of course Trump won't debate Kamala Harris. Aside from the glaring obvious that she's a former prosecutor and has shown that she chews up men far less unhinged than the convict in chief.
Can you think of any laws that give government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm happy to answer a more specific question, but
Male versus female.
there are medical procedures.
Okay. That the government has the power to make a decision about a man's body.
I thought you were asking about medical procedures that are unique to men.
I'll repeat the question. Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
Has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone?
I wouldn't.
Yes or no?
Could you repeat that question?
I will repeat it.
Yeah.
Has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone? Yes or no, please, sir?
The president or anybody else?
Seems you would remember something like that and be able to tell us.
Yeah, but I'm trying to grapple with the word suggest. I mean, there have been discussions of matters out there that they have not asked me to open an investigation, but
Perhaps they've suggested,
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
hinted,
I don't know.
inferred. You don't know.
Trump got a first-hand look at what a single debate can do to someone's chances. Chances that are already dwindling according to numerous polls this week.
Michigan registered voters put her and the former president at 49% each. That's 3 percentage points better than President Biden was performing. In Minnesota, the presumptive Democratic nominee is up and has a 6-point advantage there. They are both tied at 49 in Pennsylvania. And former President Trump has a 1-point lead in Wisconsin. Those results are comparable with the Trump versus Biden numbers. Many of the new polls coming out nationally and in the swing states have been within the margin of error in this new race.
And despite a terrible debate performance last month, I must reiterate, it was ghastly for Trump also. He emerged relatively unscathed despite spewing a fire hose of lies and disinformation. Because according to many in the media, that wasn't as noteworthy as Biden struggling. But without that smokescreen, right, he knows he'll get eaten alive. Hell, his team knows it too. That's why they're scrambling to come up with a new approach. They've woefully underestimated the clear momentum shift here.
But the framing of old versus young, convict versus cop. I mean, Kamala Harris actually even has ads that we can just get back up there, right? She calls herself the antidote to Trump, talks about how she has prosecuted sexual predators, how she has prosecuted people who have run for-profit college scams. I think that this is what the American people will much better enjoy seeing than what they had. And it will bring a lot more people who are disenchanted with this back into the fold. Gen Z voters, also a lot of Gen X voters who are kind of looking around and saying, this is the choice.
Quote, it's going to be harder What we could have gotten in earned media, we will have to now pay for. We underestimate her cultural appeal and her power at our peril. Look, 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, anybody talking about this potential switch on the Democratic side, they thought that Harris, they didn't want Harris. They wanted anybody but Harris. And it was the same thinking in the Trump campaign. Now it's Harris, and you see the energy and you see the surge in the polls, and all those elites got it completely wrong. How much did this take Trump's campaign off guard?
I think not the switching out, the switcheroo of Biden and Harris, or Biden with Harris, but the blowing up of Kamala Harris. You know, being a Miami resident, I think in terms of hurricanes, and this looks like a tropical storm that found the right patch of warm water.
And the debate, well, it would only further signify the clear difference between both candidates.
So not surprised to hear more lies from Kamala Harris. In fact, I just spoke to President Trump about this very topic today. He is committed to debating Kamala Harris. It will happen.
12 seconds later.
Just moments before we came on air, a newly released statement from the Trump campaign came out where they are hedging on the debates altogether, backing out of them for the time being.
I'll tell you, I'm ready to debate Donald Trump. I have agreed to the previously agreed upon September 10th debate. He agreed to that previously. Now it appears he's backpedaling, but I'm ready.
I sense much fear in you.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.